I hate the sound of my voice, but I'm determined to make these videos. So here goes. Hi, I'm Sam, and I love movies. Hey guys, I'm so sorry for the delay, but I am back to give you some more film suggestions for September, the season where we're transitioning from summer to fall. I'm going to try and kick it into hyper speed to get as many titles out there before the end of the month as possible. We've already reached the middle of September. I can hardly believe it. So I need to light a little fire under my butt and get going. So let's do it. This next title on my list, again in no particular order, is a personal favorite of mine and one that you might have forgotten about over the years. I would like to introduce you to, or reintroduce you to, The Burbs. First things first, the rundown, the credits, and the synopsis. The Burbs, 1989, rated PG. I will note here that this is one of those films from the 80s that probably should have been PG-13, but it is PG, so just make note of that if you are planning to watch The Burbs on family night. Runtime is 1 hour, 42 minutes. This film is directed by Joe Dante. You probably know Joe Dante. You've probably heard the name, and that is because he is associated with a lot of cult classic films from this era in the 80s, including Gremlins and Gremlins 2: The New Batch. Written by Dana Olson, starring Tom Hanks, Bruce Dern, Carrie Fisher, and an ensemble cast of character actors that is really impressive. The Burbs is characterized as a dark comedy mystery. An overstressed suburbanite and his neighbors are convinced that the new family on the block is part of a murderous satanic cult. So I'm just going to shoot from the hip with this one. The Burbs is a hilarious comedy. It mixes in mystery, thriller, and even a little bit of horror. Like I said at the beginning, it is rated PG, but there are some intense situations. There's a dream sequence, for instance, that is pretty dark. I mean, it has a lot of humor in it. It's really funny to me, but to a kid, it might be a little much. So err on the side of caution when it comes to that. This is my personal favorite era of Tom Hanks. This is kind of the big era of Tom Hanks, where he was more of a comedic actor. And although I respect his more dramatic roles later on in his career, I really love these early films with Tom Hanks. My favorite thing about The Burbs is the set and the way it feels so secluded and so relatable as far as being a suburban cul-de-sac. It feels like any suburban cul-de-sac across the United States. It takes everyday normal people experiences and then it throws in this very interesting and unlikely storyline of this kind of backwoods looking family that moves in next door into the old decrepit, I think it's an old Victorian style home. And these strange things start happening and all the neighbors who are already really gossipy and busybodies are all sneaking around and trying to figure out if these people are what they think they are. And I'm not going to give away too much, but they do believe that these new neighbors are up to no good. And they're trying to figure out if it's their own wild imaginations or if there's really something happening there. They're all really quirky and funny and odd, and there are very distinctive qualities about them that you just love. And it's really fun to watch how they interact with each other, how the different personalities kind of play off of each other and have, beef between each other. And it's one of those things where you can relate because it's very realistic in ways, but it's also exaggerated. So it gives it that more comical value to it that I appreciate so much about Joe Dante films in general. One fun personal story that I have that regards The Burbs is that a friend and I, when we were kids, we were out playing in the backyard and one of their neighbors was digging in his garden. And because of The Burbs, we convinced ourselves that he was burying bodies back there. So we kind of concocted this elaborate story about how he was like the family in the Burbs, and we were trying to figure out if he really was this murderous psycho or if we were just being dramatic. Yeah, and so the Burbs is a lot of fun. It's very imaginative. It's very, very Joe Dante, and if you're familiar with Joe Dante films, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it actually is my top favorite Joe Dante film. I love The Explorers. I love Inner Space. I love Gremlins. I love Gremlins 2, but The Burbs is my favorite Joe Dante film. And I think it fits perfectly into this season. And I think you guys will love it too. And if you haven't seen it, I highly, highly suggest that you do. And if you have seen it, but it's been a while, it's time to revisit The Burbs.